Oh, okay. Yeah. Let's go.
Yeah, we'll go.
An express program today.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. Be careful.
That's right.
Be careful.
This is the Grow
All the
Business
exciting
Podcast with Cory Mosley.
what are the exciting sports?
Well, there's golf, the Masters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Who won?
Rory McIlroy.
Oh, okay. I know who that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was good because
Now, did I hear Tiger's coming back?
he had Achilles surgery
Yeah, but he's planning to come back though.
next year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's in recovery. I mean, that's a
Okay.
You know,
He's
for-
had a lot of surgeries.
well, yeah. I mean, he train wrecked it. I mean, as much torque and power and he does on his body
Yeah.
for the swing.
Sounds terrible. I wish Willie H would cut the music so we can get on with get on the show.
Sounds like it
he's,
hurts.
What is this? The dubstep reverb? It's the Diplo version of it here before we get there. I want to be like the comedian that's like, cut the music when you do that.
That's right. It's a slow,
all right. Well,
slow
folks,
roll.
thanks for joining us today. Here we go.
Here we go.
I see. Here we go. It's like the 5-minute version. I could remember back in the day where a song was so long you could, get from your office to your house and it'd still be on the bridge. And they'd still be taking it to the bridge. Those
That's
times have
right.
changed.
Yeah. Now, if it's more than 3 minutes, it's not making it on the radio anymore.
Yeah, I know, right? Attention span here.
Yeah.
That's why I still don't understand these 3-hour podcasts. I still don't understand how you maintain somebody's attention. And listen, I tried to listen to a few of them. It's not like they're entertaining for 3 hours.
Right.
Like some of it's just conversation. I don't get it. When everyone's talking about how short-minded we are.
Right.
Well, I'm going to make that theory play out today because
Sounds good.
I've got somewhere to go.
Okay.
So we're gonna get through this podcast here and share some great information. If you don't know where you are, let me tell you.
Right.
You've arrived at the Grow Business Podcast.
Yes.
Exclusively here. Exclusively available to you everywhere you listen to podcasts, including YouTube. I'm Cory Mosley. We just want to see if Willie H is ready to go. If he's ready and he doesn't know what's going to happen. And I'm joined by LG007. Lon Graham is here.
Voice of Reason.
We are hosts for this fantastic, abbreviated. It's not how fast, it's how efficient.
Correct.
I think that's important.
Effective.
Yes, exactly.
Efficient, effective.
Yes. And the guy that was more of a DJ, I think, than a studio engineer when we open the show, Willie H is here.
Hit the buttons, William.
That remains to be seen. Let's see if that actually takes place.
Hold on, Buckaroo.
Yeah, exactly. Now he's loosey-goosey with it. So, as you know, if this is your first time listening, welcome. If you're not familiar, we're here to do one thing, help you grow your business. We're not here to be your gurus or anything like that, but we've got some ideas, some strategies, some things that we see in the marketplace have worked, potentially are working, and curating some good strategies and content for you to continue to hopefully become, for your first time, a reliable source of information for you and ideas and strategies to grow your business. We do that based around the 5 pillars of growth. These are my 5 pillars that I believe every Business Growth Challenge falls within one of those. LG007, you want to let everybody know what they are?
So we've got mindset, marketing, sales, operations, and people.
You did this on purpose.
Did what?
Do you say it out of order on purpose?
No, mindset. Oh, mindset. I got marketing and sales mixed up.
Okay. That's contingent to the job.
Okay.
Here, right?
Well, I've got the
knowing
5.
the 5 pillars
Well, I've got
in
the
the
5.
order. Mindset, sales, marketing, operations, people.
Right. I've got the 5.
This is also the basis for my latest book, Position for Growth. It's available on Amazon.com, also on CoryMosley.com. I encourage you to pick up a copy of that, where we go into details on those 5 pillars. So we like to break the show into focusing on one of those pillars. Lon has been in the doghouse lately in his selection process. I don't think you got it last week, did you?
Well, we did all of them, so I didn't need to.
Oh, that is true. Good point.
You didn't even ask.
Okay, that's a good point. Previous weeks definitely didn't get it. So,
Yeah,
do you want to take a shot at what we're going to cover today?
I've been on a slump. So
I
let's
saw
go.
you glancing over. Don't glance over. I need a privacy screen.
Let's go with operations.
All right. Lon's guess is operations. That's not what we're going to be doing. So in last week's episode,
yes,
we talked about the tariff situation and not so much the politics of it, but just you got a curveball, right?
Right.
A tariff is a curveball.
Right.
COVID was a curveball, right? So it was, some ideas to survive and really thrive, not so much survive. We want to focus on thriving always, but how to thrive in that process. And I got some different feedback, and I realized this is a good opportunity to focus on the sales pillar this week.
Okay.
Specifically, I got this kind of inspiration from Apple's announcement that they had pre-bought all these iPhones, like they were importing them in the U.S. kind of like to get ahead of the tariffs and all this other stuff before, of course, the news changed about, exemptions. But they had just pre-loaded or were pre-getting delivery of these things in advance. So it got me thinking, what parts of businesses, if I'm running a service-based business and I'm running whatever I'm running, are there elements of that can have the pre-aspect to it? Like where I can do something like that to take advantage of, pre-selling, pre-marketing, that type of thing. So I wanted to talk about that piece. Generating more predictable income using a pre-sale or a subscription model. And this particularly if you're like a service-based business, I think there's a lot of value to that. And not so much from the raw materials. There were a lot of people, pre-buying steel and lumber and that kind of thing was happening to save dollars. And that's great. But I want to talk more about if you're concerned about the future, what you can do potentially right now to enhance that. So I want to kind of go through this and then bring you in on the conversation. So, in a lot of instances, particularly when we're talking about service-based businesses, I think more than anything, there can be a feast or famine kind of revenue cycle. And often if you ask a business, what's the season? What's the seasonality? I was talking to a collision client and they were saying, hey, we're getting ready to hit like slow season. And I'm like, people stop crashing their cars because it's spring. Like if anything, I think more people are on the road. So I don't know what drives the economics of it, but you have those, situations where certainly people are getting ready for season, but they have these cycles. So having the idea, if you're not using a pre-sale strategy or a subscription model, that's a key thing to talk about. And we want to give you some ideas on that and, really some ideas to take a look at that for boosting retention, and also reducing time. This is a big one. Spent on one-off projects. I saw a post the other day from a consultant I know, and he said, who has ever have you ever realized that many times you're spending more time on your worst clients than on your best clients? Because they're sucking all the time and all the energy from there. And I thought that was interesting because I think a lot, particularly in service-based business, many times we don't think about that. Squeaky wheel gets the grease. Right? So what are your thoughts? Let's open it up, and then we're going to jump into some of these strategies.
I think there's really three types of service-based businesses that we're familiar with and that we do, know people we know and work with. One is IP-based. It's your content, your own content. Another one is like a creator type based. So you think about social media postings, you think about Google search type businesses that create content for you or take your content. And then there's a physical service business, like lawn care, maintenance, moving, those types of businesses. And each one is going to have a different nuance. But I think what we're going to talk about today is ways that you can get commitments and entice clients to commit for either a membership model or commit to pre-buying so that you can have your financial resources up front so that it can be more predictable over time.
Maybe this guy can help.
I like it. All right. So let's talk strategy one. Let's talk pre-sale. So pre-selling a new service, a program or offer. Right. So that also allows you to do a couple things. Number one, sell a service before you launch it or before you fully build it. I've seen a lot of people go to market. Even myself, I can think about some examples over the years. Going to market full steam ahead, right? Burn the bridge, burn the ships.
That's right.
Jump and grow your wings on the way down.
Lord have mercy. That's right.
And then watching that thing blow up like the Hindenburg.
Right. That's exactly right.
And realizing, I probably should have tested the waters or pre-sold.
Right.
But you get sold on your idea.
Right.
Right. You drinking your own Kool-Aid, as they say.
Right.
And that, just creates a whole separate dynamic.
It does. And pre-sale, you can do a couple things here, Cory. One, if you're launching a business or launching a new product, maybe you're transitioning from being in the corporate world to doing your own thing.
Right.
The other thing that pre-sale is great for, and I go back to, I'm a big fan of Jim Collins' books. He talked about launching, firing bullets and then cannonballs.
Mm-hmm.
If you have clients and you want to add a service to your business, go to those clients that are already paying you for something and say, hey, I'm going to add this service to my business.
Mm-hmm.
And you can use that as your test market or as your test case and get them to...
Don't get ahead of the program, Angie. But go ahead.
All right. So, that's good. We'll stop there.
And what does that look like? Is there some ancillary services, right, that you offer that go along with your business? Maybe you've been, mowing lawns, but now there's some landscape. Now you want to try out a new service. Maybe you want to get into hardscaping, or maybe you want to get into something. We've talked about adjacent revenue in the past. So, are there done for you? I said this to somebody else. They were describing like, oh, Cory, we want to kind of do it this way. So you want to kind of do a done with you,
right?
And they're like, oh yeah, I never thought about it like that. Oh yeah, you're offering a done with you because there's DIY,
right?
There's done for you,
right?
And then there's done with you.
Right.
Some people like to learn in that process, or they want to do half and half kind of, in the mix there.
Sure. Well, and that done with you allows you to transition your business to maybe ultimately you want it to be a done for you.
Yeah.
But it allows you to build either revenue or equity or experience so that you can get to that point.
I've got a friend in the event planning space, and we were having a conversation, and she was, this is how it came about.
Okay.
She was this is the actual scenario, because she was describing that, a lot of times with budgets and all these things going on now, people still are meeting and still want face-to-face, but a lot of companies are adding that to the workload of people who are already on the payroll.
Okay.
So they're not necessarily going full on with an organization like hers, to do full planning. So she's like, I want to start offering kind of help the internal team or train the internal team for companies that don't want to hire us externally. So that's when I was like, oh, kind of a done with you. Yeah. Done with you event planning. She's like, oh, yeah, that's exactly. I never thought about it that way in terms of packaging it up. So that's a creative way to you're not giving up on the idea of the revenue. Oh, well, people aren't hiring us it's like they used to anymore. So I got to adjust my lifestyle there. No, you go back. What's another angle? Well, what are they doing? Did they stop meeting? No.
Right.
Okay, so how can I add value to that conversation and still make an income? So maybe I'm not getting the full package plan from stem to stern, but I have a way to stay relevant and still derive revenue.
And that's why you are the best.
That is well done. I think about an example. There's somebody I know that does, her side business is the wedding planning business. And you talk about this done with you piece of it. And she got hired by a wedding planner to help her with her own wedding.
Right.
Because if you're doing a wedding plan, if you're a wedding planner and you're doing your own wedding, you don't want to be doing all the wedding planning.
Right.
Or you don't want to be doing day of. So it's like that's done with you.
So the lawyer, worst client is your own. Yeah.
That's exactly right. And so what she did was she established, and this is for your meeting planner friend too. What do you do well and what do you want to take on? And what just aren't you comfortable dealing with? And then identify those roles so that now you can still work with them as a partner instead of as their complete provider.
No, 100%. I like it. And what we're talking about here also is packaging. How you package is very important.
Right.
So I talk about P3, price, package, presentation.
Okay.
In some of my workshops. But here, you want to look at limited availability.
Right.
Beta launch. These are the type of language is very important when we start talking about this. Right. Not, hey, we're trying to get some new revenue, so we're going to throw this thing at the wall, right?
Right.
Can you offer a founder's rate? early adopter bonus,
Right.
Create a wait list
Right.
to build that demand and validate interest. Also, again, at the end of the day, focus on outcome-based language. What problem are you solving, not just what you'll deliver?
Right. Absolutely. And it's got to be in terms of how you can still, if companies are going internal with their and primarily their HR team, when you're going into these event places, they still have to do all the other work that they're doing.
Correct.
So, if you can position it as more time for you to do what you're supposed to do, more time to do what you were hired to do, more time, we can work together and I can unload these things for you so you can. And I think that's a great way to describe it. So you can so you can keep doing what your daily activities are.
I like it. All right. Next up.
Okay.
Strategy 2.
Strategy 2.
Subscription.
Okay.
Or retainer model.
Okay.
For ongoing services.
Yes.
So if you're in landscaping business, if you're in the carpet cleaning business, if you're in these businesses where potentially food services is appropriate here too. If you have an online store, if you're if you sell dog food, right? Guess what has to happen every 30 days in my house? The dogs will need food.
Yeah.
My wife will turn to me and say, the dogs are down to their last scoop.
Right.
Or they're going to run out of food on Thursday.
Right.
That means we got to go get the food.
Yeah.
So when we talk about subscriptions, if you're in like a traditional like retail situation, part of that attitude can simply be the idea of the auto ship or the auto purchase.
Right.
Right. And for a lot of you in the e-commerce world, you've got a Shopify store. You've got the ability to flip that switch on and to create these subscription models from that, the auto replenish.
Right.
And many people, incentivize you to do that now, right? Your one-time order, $49, or put it on auto ship for $36.
Right.
Yesterday's price.
Oh, you didn't complete it. Oh, we don't have the whole thing? Okay, I don't know what's happening. Who does that? He starts the thing and doesn't finish it, and wrecks my train of thought in the process and doesn't even finish the thing here.
No point.
Yeah, send resumes. What was I lost my train of thought. He did the thing and didn't do the thing, and now I'm angry that he didn't do the thing and I don't have the thing.
What you were talking about is how to set up a subscription model and incentivize for that as opposed to your one-time order.
Yes.
Right.
And what people do is they get the subscription to get the lower price and they cancel the subscription. But that's part of the game.
Right. Well, and you know what? I mean, that's part of the deal, right? But you're still getting the order that you may not have gotten anyway. The reality of it, the reality of it though too is dog food, pet supplies, these things that are disposable but not perishable, because you can continue to, same thing for people, right? If you got a family, you're going through toilet paper and paper towels, and you're going through these disposables, but they're not perishable. Those are great things to think about. How can you set up on a subscription, recurring order model?
Auto ship
of reason.
Oh, look, he gets the voice of reason.
That's an easy one.
The fix is in. Now, again, there's some obvious benefits to this as a subscription model, right? So now, this ongoing piece also could be a retainer. So subscription, retainer, that can be access to time, that can be access to expertise, that can be access to deliverables. And, it's important to understand the problem you're going to solve, but don't go assuming that I don't know if somebody would be interested in this.
Right.
Or somebody pay for that. And it's amazing that people don't realize, particularly from a convenience standpoint, the things people would invest in, that you're not necessarily giving, credence to.
Right. Well, remember, you're not shopping with your wallet. You're not selling. They're not buying with your wallet. They're buying with their time and their money. And I saw something this morning in one of our local online media updates. There's a local company that's going for their first round of funding. And what they do is they're like a concierge service for working mothers.
Interesting.
And so it's it's okay. Well, these are the things that you have to, whether it's shopping, like we talk about, maybe a membership, or it's like a virtual assistant or an assistant for working, not virtual, but an actual assistant for working mothers. Here are the things that I need to take care of. Maybe if I pay somebody to take care of this, I get 6 to 8 hours a week back.
Sure.
That's 6 to 8 hours a week that I could do a whole lot with as a working mother. So again, that, and I mean, to me, it seems like a really good idea. Now, are they going to make money with it? Is it going to work? I don't know, but it seems like, there's more working mothers in the workplace.
Right.
There's a lot of opportunity there.
Sounds like a problem that could need to be solved.
100%.
I've got a friend of my professional colleague friend just started a new startup that deals with home maintenance.
Okay.
So you know how you go into the dealership and they give you a multi-point inspection on your car?
Yeah.
So his company will come out and do that for your house.
Okay.
They have 140 points of criteria.
Okay.
And then, like anything, AI, these different types of things will determine what stage things are in, what may go wrong in the near future, kind of like green, red, yellow kind of thing.
Right.
So you can kind of get ahead, predictive maintenance.
Sure.
Also, and then you could use their system as a client to like determine if what you're being offered is a good deal.
Okay.
Like, I just got quoted $22,000 to do XYZ.
Right.
Oh, well, based on the marketplace, that might be high. Then the system will come back and tell you that that may be high and that kind of thing.
Okay.
But they take pictures and they archive all this information so that you have it on file. Like it's like, you have this kind of furnace.
Yeah.
Well, this is what it needs, so it doesn't need that. And then I think their end game also is to build like their own Angie's list.
Okay.
So now not only you have the maintenance, so you've got the multi-point inspection on your home.
Right.
Now you also have a model of who, are you being priced for services correctly? And then, you know what? We've got a trusted group of people already that we've vetted or certified, and now we can connect you to them.
Yeah, almost like an accredited referral process.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But it's using, a predictive on, if I knew my furnace, our HVAC went, I think 2 years ago.
Right.
Dead in the middle of summer.
Right.
And it's like, boom. And you don't have time to think. You're going out of town. You're this, you're that. The guy's there. It's like bereavement.
Right.
It's going to be 99 out. What do you want to do?
Right. That's exactly right.
Not the strongest negotiating position. But so, the priority access. This could be monthly calls. I just want to go back to this so you have ideas.
Yeah.
This could be credits.
Yeah.
Alan White says something interesting. You can buy credits in his knowledge bank, credits, and you can use those credits down the line for various products or services.
Okay.
So you just pay him a lot of money in advance.
Right.
And then you get to go tap into that, when he wants. But meantime, he's got the cash flow.
Right.
Starbucks understands this so well. They're like one of the largest banks in the world. It's true.
Hadn't thought about it in those terms, but what a great way to describe it.
All the money that we have, all the money that we extract from our account to put on our Starbucks card, so we can chase double points.
Right.
Now, if you go to Starbucks every day, then it doesn't matter. But if you're somebody who is loaded up with $25 and you get a Starbucks once a month, that's making them. They've got a lot of money sitting in that transaction system. So pretty smart.
Yeah, well, and it's predictable. I mean, that's really the thing that you're looking at is knowing that you have it already. So then you're prepared to deliver when you need to.
And listen, when you're doing that type of thing, set boundaries, understand the deliverables. You don't want scope creep. And if you don't know what that is, look it up.
Right.
Particularly in client services.
Right.
So, define, and that could be service tiers. We're rolling out tier A, B, C. Here's how we can support you. We'll come out every quarter. We'll come out every month. We'll do X, Y, and Z, within that scope there. So, and, create perceived value. That could be reports. That could be a dashboard. There's so many companies out there that allow you to white label things. So you can create your own XYZ, white label it, and now have it as a value add to your client. One of the big selling points when we do rebranding projects is a analytics integrated dashboard that we use that allows a business owner to see everything. Let's see what's going on with their SEO, what's going on with their website, what's going on down to telephone calls and listening to the calls, down to the ads they're running, what their CPC is in real time, like in one dashboard. As a business owner, if your business is not running a marketing agency,
Right.
you need a single point to me to be able to get to what's important. No different than you look at a P&L
Right.
to get your financial health to go right down the line.
Right.
This is kind of the same thing like how we use a dashboard, but it's a huge value add
Oh, sure.
and a huge seller to someone that's used to hoping somebody sends them a PowerPoint
right.
every month, by the 10th of the month,
right.
versus being able to go in real time and look at their dashboard and look at that information.
Well, and that's such a, what you're talking about, Cory, is ease of use. How can you make it more convenient
Yep.
for your clients? And the more you can do to present it in those terms, not only, here's what we do, here's how you get to assess it, or here's how you get to use it as a tool
Yep.
so that you can then grow your business. That's a fantastic thing, because as an expert, being the expert consultant, being the expert gig worker, whatever it is that you're doing, you're the one that knows all these little details.
Right.
They just want to know high level. They want to know the scoreboard, not the scorecard. They want to know what the score is, not necessarily all the statistics that go into that.
No, 100%. 100%. All right. We'll just do 3.
Okay.
So the next one is kind of hybrid.
Okay.
Right? Combining a pre-sale
Yep.
with a subscription or retainer.
Okay.
Right? So pre-sale campaign, leverage those founding spots there. And again, we're talking about scarcity. Scarcity is very valuable here. And this is not an ethical statement in terms of creating scarcity, because if you have some objectives,
right.
Okay, great. We want to bring in $15,000 in revenue this month.
Right.
So how do we do that? Right? How do we try to tie it to this month as the
Right.
goal? So I'm not creating false scare. I'm not, doing anything unethical.
Right.
I'm creating scarcity as tied to what my objectives are.
Right.
So it's the beginning of the month. I want to put $10,000 on the board by the 10th.
Right.
So I might offer someone something that's normally $1,500. I might offer the first 10 people
Right.
$9.95.
Right.
To get to my number. So there's true scarcity, to that. So I think there's some factors here to create urgency,
Right.
to connect that to cash flow, particularly if you are experimenting,
Right.
because this allows you to validate that idea as well. This might be a guy I want to work with.
Yeah. And what you talk about combining scarcity and incentive, right? So you talk about scarcity really could be just a fixed number. It could be the first 10, and you're rewarding the first 10. And that's scarcity in terms of you only have a specific amount. So like you talk about, you have a $1,500 offer, you offer it for $1,250, and you're going to sell it at $1,250 to the first 10.
Yes.
Well, if you get to 10 that first week, well, you got something.
Right.
And now you can say, okay, it's worth $1,500. Let me see if I can get that from the marketplace. And if you can't sell 10 at $1,250, you got to reevaluate what you're doing.
That's right.
So it's creating a sense of urgency for both the opportunity as well as for your understanding.
And so we do that with Pecan Jacks. Seasonally, we don't ship ice cream online year round.
Okay.
We do it seasonally, particularly holiday time. So what happens between November 1st and November 15th is all pre-order.
Okay.
So because part of what we have to do is we have to order dry ice, which can be very expensive and doesn't last long.
Right.
So you got to get your order in, get it right, and have an immediate use for it if you're not using it all the time.
Okay.
So we run that pre-sale. So all that cash flow is coming in.
Right.
Now we know if we need to produce extra ice cream. We know what we need to produce. We know what our bulk order is going to be on terms of dry ice.
Right.
Because we have the orders already versus saying, hey, we're selling ice cream now and hoping, and then trying to figure out how you're going to get dry ice or raising your costs up because you're doing it per.
Yeah.
So if you're in retail, because we've been talking about, professional services or business B2B to stuff, but that can be a seasonal collection. That could be limited edition. That could be those types of things. I want you to be thinking limited quantity ideas.
Well, and that's, now we're talking, we talked about recurring use, but non-perishable. Now we're talking about a perishable situation.
Mm-hmm.
You do these pre-orders. It allows you to control your operating costs.
That's right.
Very definitely.
Correct.
So you're not guessing as to how much dry ice you need. You're not guessing as to how much you need in terms of packaging and containers. You know all of that ahead of time. So now that you've got all these pre-orders and the money to go with them, you can pay for it, and you can pay for it and make the most effective decisions.
Yes. All of that.
Right. All of that.
All of what he said.
All of that.
So, what are some action items?
Okay.
Let's look at, maybe we'll look at this from let's look at the retail and then we'll kind of come back. But,
sure.
Is there an item in your collection? Is there something, what could you pre-sell before launch? Is there a VIP version of it?
Right.
Or a subscription offer? If you get XYZ or you bundle, can you get, so, one of the things I go back to real life application, one of the things we wanted to do is we wanted to get, we make 4 types of brittle. So we wanted to get all of them in everyone's hands. So people weren't, what we would see in terms of orders, we see everybody, ordering their favorite, it'd be this dominant one.
Right.
But oftentimes at the store level, if we get somebody to sample one and then sample the other, they end up buying 2 or more.
Sure.
So we created the bundle online, right? To encourage people to say, hey, you can get the onesie twosies, but now obviously there's a cost savings.
Right.
We're encouraging you to try the 4-pack.
Right.
So even if we're taking a thinner margin on the 4-pack, we're moving the product, but I'm getting a selection in your hands.
Right.
So the likelihood that I can raise the reorder percentage in duplicate is very valuable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The other thing too that you can do is, we talked about scarcity, and you talk about can you create a specific product for a VIP for for your highest level members or whatever, however you categorize those recurring buyers. Can you create a Christmas brittle or a Christmas ice cream that's only available then at a certain time, and offer it, and initially offer it only to your VIP members?
That's right.
So now you've created loyalty as well as an opportunity to create scarcity, inventory, and then some upfront investment as well.
Yeah, 100%. Voice of reason. Okay. He got one of those already today. Please. I worked with a guy who used to say, police. You create the offer, now you got to promote the offer. Right. So let's work the email database. Let's work your social. If you're a retail storefront, let's get some in-store signage. Track and test.
Okay.
Right. Review the revenue stability, repeat orders, customer feedback, see what actually happened through this process.
Right.
But it gives you safety, but gives you an upside, particularly when we're talking about cash flow. So now, go ahead.
Well, we were talking about retail, so I'll wait till we get to the service side of it.
Yeah. So service side, let's look at that again. Pick one service, right? What's something that you could package into a monthly offer or a pre-sale? And again, it may be something that you're not even thinking. It may be something unconventional,
right?
If I'm a paint company, can I pre-sell like a touch-up package,
right?
Where we come every 6 months to the house and do some touch-ups. Things get dented and dinged in high traffic areas. Right? Can we do a package that will come do that for you?
Right.
Very common in the HVAC world, right?
Yes.
So instead of marketing me the $79 deal, you don't pre-sell me.
Right.
So $300 a year, we come out, now it's automatic. You don't even have to worry about it.
Right. And whatever that date comes up, you redo it. And
particularly if there's redundancy to it.
Correct.
Air filters. So we have a subscription.
Right.
The air filters need to be changed every 3 months or whatever it is. So why would you wait for me to wander into Home Depot?
Right.
When you can market to me, take it off my list. Because that's something that's not going away. The water filter in my refrigerator supposed to be changed.
Right.
Unless I want to be drinking cinnamon. Okay. So pick one service that you can package into offer pre-sale. audit your existing clients.
Yes.
So this isn't always about, oh, Cory, well, we're trying to conserve dollars. I don't want to have to launch a whole new campaign to test this. I mean,
Right.
okay. You've got clients, hopefully, customers, right? So who could benefit from your offer that's already a client right now?
Right. Well, I think your HVAC is a great example, right? The best HVAC companies will have either a quarterly or a annual checkup,
Right.
to make sure that your HVAC, your AC unit, doesn't blow up in the middle of July in the hottest days of the summertime when everybody else is trying to get it done too. So they'll come out every quarter or every biannual, whatever makes sense. But then can you add the filter program to that? Because you know what they're carrying.
Right.
Can you say, okay, well, and talk to the people while you're there. Hey, look, we're going to launch a filter program, a filter maintenance program.
Right.
Would that be interesting to you?
Sure.
Every 3 months, or you can bring it and change it.
Correct.
Bring it as part of your update, right? I want to bring the new filter with us. Would you be willing to pay an extra $100 or whatever that is for it?
Right.
But that's a great example that you brought up about how to take your existing clients, test something without compromising the revenue that you're already getting.
Right. No. Give them something else besides voice of reason. And you better everybody's fired. All right. Create a simple pitch.
Okay.
And you just said it.
Right.
Would you be interested in the monthly version of XYZ? Right. You don't have to overcomplicate this thing. Particularly if we're trying to gauge interest, trying to shore up some cash flow, trying to look if there's interest in the pre-sale of the offer, that we can take some people out of the market. That's why all these subscription services now default to annual. If you go to look at an app, or you're going to buy something or some technology, you're going to buy, the latest thing for AI or whatever, it'll default.
Okay.
It defaults to annual commitment. $29 a month, annual commitment. Then you click the other button. It's $39 if you want to pay month to month for it. So they try to, but create a simple pitch. Let's not make it complicated. Yep. And I said it again, people love this founding member offer.
Right.
They love that idea of, let me take that back. There's a subset of people who love that idea.
Right.
Some people are terrified of being first to do anything.
Right.
They, in fact, want to wait till every person on the planet is signed up before they sign up. But you do have a fair share of early adopters and people who want the association. I joined a program called Founders Card 2013. So 12 years ago.
Right.
And I'm still listed as a founding member.
Right.
As they've grown and the other things. You're a founding member. You got a founder member rate. So my rate never goes up as long as I renew. Although the rate is now, gone up several $100s a year to stay in the membership.
Right.
And the membership pays for itself. I'll pop an affiliate link.
There you go.
Pop an affiliate link on this. If you watch this on YouTube, check out the affiliate link on that, because it's a great program. But start with 5 to 10 clients, service-based business. Start with 5 to 10 clients and test it out that way. Build your testimonials, those types of things. But there are people out there that, I know you follow Myron Golden a little bit, or know who, what's his thing? Make more offers.
Right.
Make more offers. The Make More Offer Challenge. Make more offers.
Right.
So it's simply that, putting it out there and making sure there's a need to it. And then also, if you can and where you can, systematize the delivery.
Yeah.
So we're working with an organization right now that has been doing this certification program via Zoom.
Okay.
Like, you got to show up every Tuesday at 11 o'clock.
Okay.
And if you miss it, then there's all kinds of assignments, and you got to do all these assignments, and then you got to rely on the instructors. Hopefully nothing happens, because the instructors are like volunteer experts.
Okay.
So anything could happen. Like, when it's free,
right.
I got a cough. Can't make it this week. Whatever can happen.
Get paid,
so I'm like, guys, why don't we put this on a virtual training platform?
Right.
And why don't you let us build that? Let's get the instructors recorded one time, and now make the content evergreen, consumable. You can get more people to come in, because you don't have business owners making a decision between attending this meeting at 2 o'clock or working with a customer or going on a sales call.
Right.
So, it just makes sense. So now they can do more with it.
Well, in a situation like that, Cory, what you've done is you've systemized it, made it easier for you. You've also increased accessibility.
Yep.
And by increasing accessibility, you're going to increase opportunity.
Bingo! I don't even need it. If I did. I could do my own voice of reason. I do my own. I don't need you to reward me with your buttons. Okay, I can do all my own.
Work with me, brother. Work with me.
Work with me, brother. Work with me. Exactly.
Indeed. There you go.
This might be a guy I want to work with.
There you go.
All right. That's it.
Yeah. One thing I will say too, and we've kind of talked around it, and I think it's important to talk straight at it, is when you're testing something, when you're testing a new product, when you're testing a new service, when you're testing, especially service-based businesses, consultants, and IP type experts, you have to, we talk about creating scarcity, creating need. You can't be too available. You can't offer too much of it too early, because what happens is if it's way too available, if you're delivering services and you're adding a new service, only make it carve out little pieces of time to test it out without compromising your existing business. Because what happens is if it's available anytime or all the time, it's not that big a deal. And so now this sense of making it special, the sense of urgency, the sense of the value of your time or your product just goes out the window, because I can get it anytime. It's not that big a deal.
Right. There it is. All right, we're going to leave it there, folks. If you want more information on this, want to learn more about the 5 pillars of business growth, you got to pick up the book.
That's right.
Position for Growth, now available on Amazon.com or CoryMosley.com. We appreciate you being here. LG, what's your closing? He's got the closing words.
Yeah, thanks for coming. Thanks for coming back. And next time, bring a friend. That's
right. We look forward to seeing you here next week on the Grow Business Podcast. On behalf of myself, Cory Mosley, LG 007, Lon Graham, and Willie H., we appreciate you being here, and we will see you next time. Willie H., take us out. Subscriptions.
Yeah.
Pre-sales.
Absolutely.
There's stuff that people are doing, subscriptions and pre-sale that I like, whole concepts.
Okay.
Like singular ones, like, facials.
Okay.
You just pay every month to go get you pay in every month to come get your facial.
Yeah.
But I think it's not just a cash flow benefit, but I think it's also for people who don't want to think about it as a big expense later on. Like, if I'm paying $99, my facial's $300.
Right.
I don't feel comfortable with getting hit $300, but I go every quarter, I pay $99.99, and you don't feel it the same mentally, I think.
Well, I think that there's two. Plus, you're more invested.
Yeah.
You're more invested in that product, and if you go,
because there's no refunds.
That's right. Well, if you go more regularly, you're more likely to talk. I mean, all the benefits, they become your third-party sales force too.
Agreed.
They become part of your marketing. Wow. I mean, for me, I ended up buying the monthly membership at the car wash.
Yep. There you go.
And the reason I did is because I don't have a garage where I live right now, and so I've got.
And you can just roll through, hit the scanner.
Yep. Did it this morning. Yeah. So I'm on my way out to sales calls. Boom. Do it. There you go.
Boom.
Boom.
All right, we're good.
Thank you.